hope you enjoyed that wonderful stress-relieving activity. Now you're going to engage in a word splash activity, and your guiding question is going to be, what information can a teacher gather from a running record? The teachers have already put chart paper and markers there for you to begin your activity. Do you need me to repeat the guided question? The guided question is, what information can a teacher gather from a running record?
It's on this top. I wish they put the question on the board because I've already forgotten the question. Bark, bark? What? Bark, bark? Oh, you're late. There you go. Your animal. Just sit down. Just sit down. It was, what information can you gain? Look for pen. Just find the picture.
But now you're really getting free. Comprehension?
Could you guys repeat the question like 2 more times or put it on the PowerPoint?
What is the importance of
It's on there.
coding skills? I just felt encoding.
I thought so.
So that would be phonemic awareness.
Start a word when you sound it out.
As if that was the same as they grow me.
Like how they hold the book and how they, I know for the learners, how they hold the book.
I saw a meme. It's like,
This side is the big side, the other side is thin.
so from Julie's running record, or that you did this week, the teacher said that she recognized that his comfort level with reading out loud is very high. It's very
Like I've read this before,
Your dress just brushed me, and I thought it was like, you know, when you can't. No, I was trying to.
You saw
We'll pull up the camera. I jerked away. It was the opposite direction.
I haven't misconstrued anything.
That is like the second time or third time around this fight about the skirt today.
Oh, it is.
We're just going to quick check in. Just show us like 1 or 2 fingers how many more minutes you need to finish up. 1 or 2? Or 0? Everybody's ready?
All right, guys, done.
0? Okay.
Does that mean Maurice is saying?
Alright, so if you finish up your last word that you're putting on your word splash, and then we're going to move into the PowerPoint presentation with Mrs. Miller.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I see. I'll wait until I see your eyes. All right, so we're presenting today to you why we should do running records and the importance of running records. So is it all about the accuracy rate? We have kind of a discussion between product, the end result, versus process, pattern of responses. There's much more involved in becoming a well-rounded reader than reading the words with a certain level of accuracy. Although that's certainly a big part of it, if we're trying to support children to become well-rounded readers, doesn't it then make sense for our reading instruction to be well-rounded also? So the product is that we want them to be on a certain reading level by the end of the year, according to your grade level, and we want them to have a certain accuracy level or accuracy rate on that level. So that's the product, but the most important thing is that they have an excellent reading process. And so the way that's determined is through the running record. And then the running record will help you determine what you do in your reading instruction. So just remember, we're looking for the reading process of our students. So what is the purpose of the running record? It's to observe a child's reading process on continuous text, use of strategic activity or lack of, and to observe cues used at point of difficulty. So I want everyone to repeat after me. Continuous text.
Continuous text.
So continuous text is our books, a lot of text, not just a sentence. Say strategic activity. Strategic activity is what you're going to see your students doing. You might see them self-correcting. You might see them rereading. You might see them looking at the parts of words when it's difficult. You might see them saying words slowly. There's lots of different strategies. And then say point of difficulty. Point of difficulty is when they come to that word that's hard for them, and you'll see them might do several things. They might just look at you. They might try to say it slowly, or they might appeal to you. And also to capture reading behavior, which can be analyzed later. So I want you to think of the running record as like a picture. And if you were to show this picture to anybody else in this room, they would understand exactly what happened when that child was reading, because you should have just recorded all the strategic activity that you saw. So observable behavior. We observe what they know to do on their own, what they understand about reading, and what they're not quite doing yet. This is invaluable information because it allows us to calibrate our instruction and fine-tune our instructions in a personal, responsive way. So the one thing I wanted to say about this is that when you're taking a running record, you can note as many things as you notice about that child. If you notice them using their finger at certain points, if you notice them fidgeting, if you notice their eyes are all over the room, take note of all those things because that's going to help you in your guided reading lesson later on. And then, besides the processing, the strategic activity, another purpose is to, of course, assist in finding and figuring out what the appropriate instructional level for the child is. And you will be able to do that by analyzing the running record and finding the accuracy level. So it's a simple computation. The accuracy rate is found by taking the number of words minus the errors and then dividing that by the number of words. And I know for the F&P kits it says on the cover the total number of words, but if you have other books that don't have the total number of words, then you would have to count them. So I always just have my calculator ready next to me, ready to figure that out. And then also the self-correction rate. Self-correction is when they fix their mistake. They say something that's wrong and then they correct themselves. And so you'll also figure that out to help yourself see what their processing was with that. And that's the number of errors plus the number of self-corrections, and then divide that by the number of self-corrections. And you'll see that in a little bit.
Something else with the accuracy rate too is for those of you in the younger grades, or if you have upper grade students reading on lower reading levels, for children reading on levels A through K, you want the accuracy rate to be 90 to 94%. That's your instructional rate. And then after level K, then the expectation is a 95% accuracy rate for instructional purposes. And then with the self-correction rate, you want it to be about 1 to 2, meaning for every for every word they read, for every 2 words they read correctly, there's 1 error. So if you get done and a child has a 1 to 12, self-correction rate, then that tells you something about their processing and about them monitoring on their own errors in their reading. You don't want it to be that large of a discrepancy. So right around 1 to 2, possibly 1 to 3 is a good self-correction rate. All right, continuing on thinking about the purpose of a running record, you're really just trying to capture as much information, as Mrs. Miller said, on your running record sheet so that when you come back to look at it, you can think about that child and think about what the child is doing and what they're not doing when they read. And a lot of that process is, things that we can observe both by their actions and their behaviors, or just, them being there in the chair where their eyes are, they're fidgety, that sort of thing, but then also thinking about what's going on in their head as they're trying to get through the text. So an additional purpose of the running record is to keep a record of reading behavior change over time. And I'm going to share with you a running record that I took on a student recently that I'm working with in 1st grade, and I'll be able to share with you the shift that I was hoping, or that I've been teaching for over time, and you can help me decide whether or not I have that shift in the child's process. So it's good to be able to look at the change over time. It's good to be able to show parents, this is where they were, this is where they are now, this is where we need them to be, because lots of times parents don't understand, what the reading levels look like. And it also helps for SST purposes to show the change over time. To assist in making critical decisions about an individual child, and to provide information for both teachers and parents. And what we hope that you'll really leave with today is that it's more than just the accuracy rate, it's more than just a coding, it's just the overall picture of the child and how important it is to take good notes and how it can really help you with your teaching decisions and your instructional planning. So the quote there is, "We have to keep in mind that the act of reading is made up of much more than just decoding the words on the page, even though so much of the instructional focus and adult concern for our youngest readers is about getting them to decode." So when you're analyzing a running record, which we're going to get to do a little bit of that after you watch the video of my student reading a book, you're really looking to see, is the child using meaning? Are they reading with appropriate sentence structure? For a lot of our ESOL children, you'll notice when you're taking your running records and looking at those patterns, a lot of what's getting in their way is the past tense sentence structures. So that's something that we really want to teach for really hard in the younger grades, because the reading has to sound right. Okay, and if a book already happened, if we're thinking about the meaning, if this is a past tense book, then they need to understand this story already happened, so it has to sound like it already happened. So the 3 things that you'll be looking for when you analyze is meaning, structure, and then visual information. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Yeah. You went too far. Okay. So again, when you're looking at the MSV after the child reads, it's to work out whether the child is responding to the different sources of information in print. You need to look at every error that the child makes and ask yourself, now, what led the child to do that? And it has to be for that book at that time on that page. So you have to really think deeply about what they're doing, their process for that particular book on that page at that time. Okay? And then you want to look for patterns. Are they strictly just using meaning? Are they strictly just using visual? Because we really want our children to do meaning first and then look at the visual information. So you're looking for those patterns. Or are they using a variety of sources? Because that's what you want them to be doing. And then after you analyze your running record, the next thing you're going to do is set learning goals based on the patterns of responses, considering the information that the child used and neglected. Again, if they had all their errors, none of them were meaningful, then you know you got to teach for meaning. Okay? And then selecting teaching procedures to support the learning goals. Okay? And then our ultimate goal, if we consider our ultimate goal that our children become readers who read with accuracy, fluency, and comprehension, but also with joy and intention, then it makes complete sense to give them regular opportunities with instructional support. Okay, so we're going to share with you a video. This student's reading a level 12. The story is called Puppy Trouble. So if you'll go ahead and just make notations as you watch the video, it's about 3 or 4 minutes, I think, and then we're going to talk about it after the video.
He was on the couch. He was sitting on Rosie's pink puppy. Oh no, said Rosie. Look, the puppy has my pink bear. Bad puppy, said Rosie said. That's my bear. The little puppy looked, said, now. Then he began to cry. Oh, all right, said Rosie. You can keep the bear. Oh, thank you, said the little puppy. Rosie looked at the little puppy. Then she looked at the buck. The puppy was chewing on the buck. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. Bad puppy, Mom will be mad. Then the little puppy looked, said, then he began to cry. Oh, all right, said Rosie. I will clean up the mess. The puppy keeps getting into trouble. Let's go outside, said Bella. Then the puppy will stay out of trouble. So Rosie, Bella, and the little puppy went outside. Help! Help! Cried the little puppy. Help! Help! Now what? Now what? Asked Bella. Oh no, said Rosie. The puppy fell into the pool.
I liked on this part back here.
Hello, okay. Yesterday afternoon, I sent you guys a link for a Padlet. Can you go ahead and go in your email and open that for me? And you're going to actually write down, or type, sorry, 2 or 3 things that you noticed about the running record or the video that Ms. Schwartz just showed. If it doesn't work, let me know.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's ready. I know. Where do I type? 3 things? Oh no, somebody just did that. Skip the sentence. Okay, I see that. Skip sentences. No, because I'm in the electrical team, so I was supposed to be. Why are you not there? Because I want you to be the There you go. Oops, I'm going to skip a few sentences. Yeah. I'm not.
Alright, so a lot of you guys said that he self-corrected, skipped several sentences, omission to still was self-correcting, the student started out words out and repeated multiple words, unsure of what to do after punctuation, visual cues, choppy reading. He gave a solid effort, yes he did. Sorry. He kept repeating, so a lot of you guys said that he skipped some sentences, he did a lot of repeating, and that he had a lot of self-correcting, used pictures, visual aids. He got back on track if he skipped. He paused for words that he did not know that was too long. He read with expression on some of the areas.
Okay, so thinking about different ways that we notate when we're reading with students, especially when we're doing like the Fatness and Pinnell assessments. So if we use tally marks to keep track of the child's error, how is that going to drive our instruction? How do we use that information when the child leaves and it's like the end of the night and you're looking at all your running records you've done for the day? how are the tally marks going to drive our instruction? What information does it give you? Who can tell me? Tells you how many errors. What else? Well, it's just a tally mark of the number of errors. No, it's just the number of. Well, you can use the tally marks to determine something else, though. What's that? So you can find an accuracy rate, so you know if this is the child's instructional level or not. Does it give you a clear picture of this child's process as a reader? What do we think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, it gives you a starting point, okay? There's another way we can notate this. I mean, I know all the little marks, they're hard to keep track of. Let's look at another way we might keep track of. So we might, I couldn't figure out how to circle in here, but so you might circle the errors or just highlight with a pen or underline the words that they read incorrectly, okay? So how is that going to help us with our instruction? What information does it give you? What words they missed. What do you mean by type of error? Are you going to know if they use visual if you don't know what the child said, though? This is all you recorded. It's just going to tell you the words that they mispronounced or skipped, or you just know that they made an error of some sort with those words. Okay? So that's why it's so important that we use the markings that a lot of you probably have the little yellow cards, and if you don't, we can get them for you. We have extras. That really the county, across the county, wants us using those markings so that if a student leaves Conaheda and goes to another school and they get the file, they're able to understand your markings. And the same thing, if you get a file in from another school, you'll be able to understand their markings if everybody's using their universal language of a running record. So we're going to pass out the running record that I took of the student reading the book that we shared in the video. And just talk about what the markings mean and how I can use that, because I take 4 running records a day of my students. So at the end of the day, I have to be able to keep track of who did what and whose process is where and where I need to go tomorrow. And the only way to do that is to look at my teacher notes. So if you look over the running record, and it takes time, it takes practice. We're not expecting you to leave here today being able to do a running record like this tomorrow. But definitely be thinking about the markings, think about trying it out. If you need a yellow little cheat sheet, let us know. I'm pretty sure I have some in the book room. If not, we can get some. If you need some more information, we'll definitely be diving into this, deeper next year, but wanted to give you a little, get your feet wet with it this year. But if you have questions too that you're puzzling over after the presentation, be sure to let me know. Okay. Can you guys see that? Thumbs up if you can see. I don't know if it's blurry yet. So if we think about the first page, let me show you the picture as you're looking at those errors. This is what the child had as a picture. So, thinking about whether or not his reading makes sense. Thinking about whether or not his reading makes sense. So, of course, the check box there means that he read the word correctly. So, his first error is when he said puppy for bear. So looking at that picture, would that make sense for this book at this time? What do we think? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hard picture to tell whether or not it's really a bear or could it be a puppy, okay? So can we say it that way? The puppy has my pink puppy. Grammatically speaking, does that sound right for English language? Yes. What about visual information? He said puppy for bear. Did he use any visual information? What information are we thinking he used, Ms. Carter? What'd you say? Okay, good point. Visually in the picture, but the picture's meaning. So if it matches the picture, then he used meaning. Visual means the letters on the page for the word. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so thinking about the visual information, the word bear, does puppy and bear have any visual similarities? Ah, it's a possible PB confusion. So that would be something that I would need to think a little harder about and to make sure that I cleared up that he could have a PB confusion. So over here in the columns, this is how you would analyze after. Thanks, guys. Is that good? Okay. So if you think about M is meaning, so we said it makes sense with the picture on the page, so we're circling what he used. He used structure because it sounds right grammatically to that point. And then visual information, we're saying possibly he used the beginning, that's what the arrow to the left means. And then I would note a PB confusion. So I know that I need to maybe look at other running records, maybe look at his writing to see if that PB confusion has come up before, or kind of have that on my radar for tomorrow's lesson to see if it shows up somewhere else. So I know if I need to tease that apart. Okay? All right, and then if we keep going. Bad puppy, Rosie. So he did the first sound, then he got it, so he got the check mark. The first sound doesn't count as an error. That's a strategic activity. He's using that beginning visual information. Then he said that for that, and then he said that. So it wouldn't count as an error because the first attempt that he made is part of that word. If he had said something else, then it would have counted as an error and then a self-correction. But